I think we should be expecting more Chinese investors and tourists coming to Switzerland this year.
Lei, firstly, welcome to our studios. We're very excited to have you here.
Thank you.
And what we're going to be talking about today is the relationship between China and Switzerland. And we recently had the President of China who came to Switzerland this year to attend the World Economic Forum. So firstly, can you tell us a little bit about the pre-existing relationship between the two countries?
Switzerland and China have had a very good diplomatic and economic relationship. Historically, Switzerland was one of the first countries to recognize People's Republic of China, first European countries, in fact, back in 1950. And more recently, China and Switzerland have signed a free trading agreement, which allows the two countries to have their trades going more freely, which benefits countries' import and export for quite a lot of different industries. At the same time, Zurich has recently become a clearing center for renminbi, which is a Chinese currency. So it really is helping the Swiss companies to be able to trade with their counterparties in China.
And do you think there is potential for further investment opportunities between China and Switzerland?
Switzerland has long been one of the favorite countries for the Chinese because it's politically very stable. It has a very innovative technology. It's very beautiful, clean, and it has a very strong financial system as well as a very attractive corporate tax rates. So for a lot of Chinese companies to eventually move their headquarters here. And at the same time, the trade between Switzerland and China has actually been positive for the past couple of years, which means there are more Chinese buying from the Swiss and instead of the Swiss buying from China, which is not very actually common for the European countries trading with China. So it's a good sign. I think it shows there is a big opportunity in the market. And at the same time, there are three big industries for the Chinese to be investing in Switzerland, which including the tourism industry, education, as well as luxury industry. And this is what really is people are focusing on investing this year from China. As we can see after the trip of President Xi Jinping visiting Switzerland in January, this year is even Sino-Swiss Tourism Year, which brings a lot of potential. I think we should be expecting more Chinese investors and tourists coming to Switzerland this year.
And as you're talking about, when the President of China was in Switzerland for the World Economic Forum, he was he made clear to kind of undertone Beijing's desire to play more of a global role at the moment, particularly with the United States, kind of increasing its isolationist and populist rhetoric. What type of role do you think a more global China would entail?
Well, first of all, I have to say, if this situation does happen, it is a painful situation for both countries. And at the same time, it has become a global trend for developed countries to have extreme protectionism, for which I think it's not beneficial for the country itself. And coming back to the US-Chinese story, I personally think it is probably not profitable for the US consumers as well as the shareholders because the country is heavily dependent on importing from China, at least for certain industries. So if they are not to import anymore from China, it could cost them a little bit. And on the Chinese side, the country is trying to shift from a country which is heavily depending on exporting to other countries to a local consumption-driven economy, which means the growing middle class in China is trying to become the target for a lot of companies which are exporting out of the country at this point. So if it really does happen, it's probably not beneficial for both countries. So let's hope that it wouldn't.
And let's just say, for example, if the US was to go completely isolationist in its trade and sort of cut the world off, would China be able to fill the void that the US would leave for Switzerland?
That would probably be difficult. I would say the Chinese could only partially fit in this role because there are certain industries, they do both export to Switzerland, such as machinery and textile industries, but there are also industries which Chinese cannot replace the US. For example, pharmaceutical industry, medical devices, and agriculture. So yeah, I know China cannot completely replace, but for certain industries, yes.
Well, it will definitely be interesting to see how this situation develops and if the United States do decide to go completely isolationist in their trade policies and if China does actually have to step up to the plate. But Lei, thank you so much for coming today and sharing your insight with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
That's all from us today in the Geneva studios, but if you like this video, be sure to go on our website, dukascopy.tv, for plenty more.